Welcome Classic Rock fans to another episode of 10 of the Best, and today we're looking at the 10 best songs by Marillion. If you're new to this channel, please be sure to click like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and do check some of the links below this video for ways you can support the sterling work they do at Classic Album Review. Since posting a review of their newer album, I've been asked a few times what are my 10 personal favourites. So I thought I'd do this video as a response, but also perhaps to cynically capitalise on the buzz that's surrounding this band at the moment. Number 10 is The Uninvited Guest from Season's End. I love the idea behind this one, the idea that we're possibly haunted by darker aspects of ourselves. It has a real Jekyll and Hyde quality to it, and all our misdeeds and indiscretions are made flesh. What a great idea. This song was performed brilliantly at the last Marillion weekend in Leicester, by the way. I love the allusions made to the 13th at the table and Banquo's ghost that really floats my boat. It has a real menace to it, exacerbated by that tattoo of drums that runs through it. The lyrics to this one were written by John Helmer. He said he was inspired by the AIDS epidemic and that idea that there was a part of yourself you had to keep hidden from everybody else, as well as yourself, that is. Number 9 is Out of This World from the Afraid of Sunlight album. This, of course, is a moving tribute to Donald Campbell on an album that is very much a meditation on fame. This version of the song performed on the Out of Season Blu-ray is absolutely phenomenal, as is the When I Meet God. Check out the guitar at the end of that, it's just absolutely wonderful. Not to be confused with the Adam and the Ants song, The Day I Met God. This is a song about obsession to the point where it literally consumes us. Interestingly, Campbell actually wrote at the time, before he went out with the Bluebird, that he was sick of his wife's badgering about his safety. And Steve Hogarth has written quite beautifully of that day, watching them drag the Bluebird from Lake Coniston, and as well as consuming good healthy slabs of Kendal mint cake. Number 8 is Grendel from 1983, which is the B-side to Market Square Heroes. This Anglo-Saxon epic melded with Genesis Foxtrot, although Mark Kelly in his biography denies this, is one of those iconic numbers that this very much foreshadows that gothic grandeur that would define Marillion's debut album. And Fish certainly cut an imposing figure back in the day, and there's perhaps no other song that perfectly encapsulates his tenure with the band. Anyway, I've already written, filmed a classic song review on this number. There is a card up there, you can go and check it out. Number 7 is Afraid of Sunlight from the Afraid of Sunlight album. This is one of my favourite Marillion albums. As I've said, it's a meditation on fame, or how destructive fame can be. And this one is just beautiful, the way it builds and slowly launches into that gorgeous chorus. I never know whether or not to describe this as a concept album. If it's not a concept album, it's certainly a thematic album, shall we call it. But this track is intriguing. I read somewhere that it's supposed to be somehow linked to the point where Jesus tells his apostle Peter that he will deny him 3 times before the cock crows. And I love the reference to spirit rack in here, which being a row of optics but also conjuring up images of torture. Number 6 is Fantastic Place from Marbles. Marbles essentially is an album that seems to concern itself with the idea of escape. And this has longing at the very centre, this desire just to be elsewhere. And this song has an almost effortless quality to it. Brian Wilson said when he was writing God Only Knows that it just came easily to him just like melted butter. I wonder if the same could be said for this track. I just love the way it begins with this in such an unopposing manner, with that low murmur punctuated by Mark Kelly's keyboards, all building up to the not only sublime, ethereal and beautiful chorus, but that excellent guitar solo from Steve Rothery. Number 5 is Estonia from their The Strange Engine album, if I'm not mistaken. This was their Castle Communications period. For me, there are 3 great epochs from Marillion. There's the Fish era, there's the post-Fish era, then there's the post-Marbles Renaissance. This song was inspired by Hogarth having a conversation with a survivor from the Estonia that capsized in the Baltic Sea, taking with it over 800 lives, believe it or not. It was such a tragedy. You get this sense of fraught panic expressed in the verses, until the chorus comes in from elsewhere, really reminding us that no one leaves us into their whilst they live in your heart and mind. And it's such a beautiful refrain, one that I've taken a lot of comfort from over the years. This song seems to move from a sense of panic, desperation, and then finally acceptance. Number 4 is Ocean Cloud. Ocean Cloud is from Marbles, of course, and this song details that epic journey made by Don Allen across the Atlantic. It's one of epic proportions, oceanic proportions, one might say. Don Allen was the first one to row right across the Atlantic and back, I believe. And this third journey, which this song concerns itself with, is from Newfoundland to Ireland, a journey he made in 1987. And this song captures the sheer danger and magnitude of this trip, which is explored in the textures of the music. But it's also a skillful rendering and bringing to life of this man's psyche. We get the sounds of seagulls and some gentle guitar tones, which seem to represent the vulnerability of the man amid the majesty of this track. I love the opening line, "He's seen too much of life," and the way it just hangs there for us to consider before we start moving into the number of all its strange twists and turns and dynamics. It's just wonderful. Number 3 is Neverland. This is a song that Marillion often end their set with. It's from the Marbles album, and it's a song that very much has guilt at its centre, I think. I mean, for example, I think one of the lyrics is, "I want to be someone who someone would want to be." The second part of the song deals very much with the idea of escape. Escape is very much a theme on the Marbles album. And of course it references Peter Pan, Neverland, where the lost boys are. Boys that escape the world by never growing up, yet at the same time yearn for it. Number 2 is Care, from An Hour Before It's Dark. This song is very much about mortality. It was inspired by a friend of Steve Hogarth's who was critically ill. And the theme of this album, the idea of this album, is that time is running out. A great philosopher once said, my mother in fact, "You've just got to make the best of a bad lot." But there's no doubt some of us trudge a hard old path where the reaching out for angels is perfectly understandable. I love the way this track starts with that swampy bass sound with Pete Travis channeling his inner love for Sly and the Family Stone, no doubt, before it explodes into the cinematic guitar lead from Steve Rothery and that wonderful atmospheric synth. I love it about 4 minutes 55 into this track, it all quietens down and we get this almost sound of a clock chiming. I think it's a sound recreated by the guitars. It just, the magnitude and beauty of this track is just astounding. It's almost a transcendent experience listening to it. The section Angels on Earth was inspired by a mural in Manchester painted by Paul Barber, which in itself was drew upon a photograph which was inspired by the COVID pandemic. I love the last line in this song, that an angel on earth has come to carry me home. It leaves us as listeners feeling redeemed, replenished, even hopeful. If fear draws on the image of the storm, an analogy of the impending humanitarian crisis, this album helps us to batten down the hatches and suggests that who knows, tomorrow there may be blue skies. Number 1 is The New Kings from Fear. This one bristles with rage and indignation, and that angelic leitmotif sung by Hogarth, "Fuck everyone and run," just has the hair standing up on the back of your neck. It's so beautiful. Fear, of course, is an album that seized the zeitgeist, very much like their new album does. It seems there has to be some sort of national emergency or existential crisis for Marillion to put out an album these days. But it was an album that very much seemed to fed off the shifting uncertainties and the political shifts that seemed to be going on in the world at the time. I love the line in this song, "Do you remember a time when you felt that you mattered?" Life certainly feels very fragmented now. Since the internet, of course, we've never been so connected, yet perversely disconnected. And the dynamic range and textures of this music and the way Hogarth uses his voice is just extraordinary. You know, we get that he moves from sort of a sardonic mewing to that barbaric, indignant yop as well. Just truly wonderful stuff. Anyway, they're my 10 personal favourites. I'd love to know what yours are. I'd like to say thank you if you've actually got to this stage in the video without switching it off, and if you've got a moment more, do check out some of the cards that are appearing up here, or should be. Other than that, I just hope you're all well, healthy, safe, COVID free, but more importantly that you keep listening.